Childhood can be difficult for anyone, but for Sigma males, it is a journey full of hidden challenges that shape who they are. They don't fit the usual mold and often feel like outsiders. Even from a young age, they were forced to adapt and find their own way in a world that often doesn't understand them. These struggles are rarely seen, but they leave deep marks, shaping their quiet strength as adults. Although they may seem calm and confident later in life, they face challenges that most people never notice. Here are 6 untold childhood struggles every Sigma male has experienced. Number 1, forced independence. From a young age, Sigma males often find themselves in situations where they cannot depend on others. It's not that they choose to be solitary. Life teaches them that self-sufficiency is crucial to survival. Maybe it starts with parents who are too busy or distracted to give them the attention they need. Or maybe it's a school system that doesn't understand your unique way of thinking. Whatever the reason, these young people quickly learn that if they want something done, they have to do it themselves. This self-sufficiency is not about being stubborn or antisocial. It's a survival skill. When it seems like no one else understands you, you learn to trust your own instincts. If they needed help with homework, they had to figure out themselves. If they felt sad or confused, it was better to keep it to themselves because no one seemed to understand. Over time, this becomes second nature. They become problem solvers, critical thinkers, and independent spirits. But it has a cost. While other children seek support and depend on friends, the future Sigma man is learning to stand alone. This struggle shapes your approach to life. As adults, they're often the ones who can handle difficult situations without breaking a sweat. They are resourceful and adaptable. But deep down, there's always that little boy who learned the hard way that he only had himself to count on. It's a double-edged sword. This self-sufficiency makes them strong, but it can also make it difficult for them to ask for help when they need it. Not because they don't want to, but because it goes against everything they learned in their formative years. While it may not be the best approach in every situation, this struggle has made them who they are. A person who can tackle anything that comes his way on his own if necessary. Number 2, the way society functions when against its nature. From the moment they enter the world, young Sigma find themselves swimming against the current. Society, with its rigid structures and expectations, seems to favor those who easily follow predetermined paths. But for these independent thinkers, it's like navigating a maze with no clear exit. The classroom, designed to follow a curriculum without much room for individual exploration, can feel stifling. While other children can easily adapt to the structured learning environment, the future Sigma male often craves more freedom to pursue knowledge in his own way. They may work in groups and participate in class, but they crave depth and meaning beyond the superficial interactions and repetitive learning that often dominate school days. Teachers may misunderstand your inquisitive nature or your tendency to think outside the box. These young people are not trying to be difficult. They are simply trying to understand the world on their own terms. Their curiosity and desire for deeper understanding can sometimes be interpreted as defiance or inattention, or even worse, labeled as troublemakers. Playtime brings its own challenges. Organized activities have their place, but these young people often long for the freedom to explore their own interests and ideas. They may enjoy team sports or group play, but they are also drawn to activities that challenge their minds. They were the kids who took their toys apart to see how they worked, or who spent hours trying to create the perfect paper airplane. This constant friction between their nature and social expectations leaves its mark. It teaches them early that they are different, that the world often expects them to fit into predefined molds. But it also ignites your creativity and independent thinking. They learn to find their own way in a world that often prefers conformity, developing skills that will shape them into the unique and self-confident individuals they are destined to be. Number 3, Your curiosity was not seen as a positive trait. Even from a young age, Sigma males had a curious mind that often got them into trouble. They were the ones who asked why and how instead of simply accepting things as they are. In classrooms, his constant questions about why could be seen as interruptions rather than signs of an eager mind. Although teachers encourage curiosity in theory, the reality of managing a classroom full of boys often means shutting down the deep, penetrating questions that future Sigma males love to ask. We don't have time for that now, or that's not part of the lesson. They become phrases you hear too often. At home, parents may find your endless questions exhausting. Why is the sky blue? It can quickly become a complex discussion about light refraction and atmospheric composition, topics that many adults are not prepared for after a long day at work. What the child sees as a fascinating exploration, others may see it as an unnecessary complication. This curiosity extends beyond simply asking questions. These kids are often the ones who take apart the TV remote to see how it works, or spend hours researching obscure topics that interest them. But instead of encouragement, they can listen, stop playing with things, or why can't you play like normal kids? Their peers may find them strange or boring. While other boys are content to accept things as they are, the future Sigma man wants to delve deeper and understand more. This can make them seem too serious or unfun in the eyes of their classmates. Even well-intentioned adults can try to redirect their curiosity toward more practical activities. That's interesting, but how will it help you get a job? It becomes a common refrain as they grow up. Over time, many learn to keep their questions to themselves, to hide their insatiable curiosity to avoid judgment or criticism. People see their curiosity as something to be ashamed of, an oddity to be hidden, rather than a strength to be encouraged. But despite the discouragement, that spark of curiosity never really dies. It simply hides, waiting for the right time and place to resurface. As they age, these future Sigma males learn to embrace their curiosity and use it to their advantage, becoming lifelong learners who never stop questioning and seeking knowledge. Number 4, they always had the feeling of being different. Sigma males always felt that something was a little different about them. It wasn't something they could easily explain, but they felt it deeply. While the other children seemed to do the same things and think the same way, they couldn't help but feel like outsiders watching from the outside. This feeling of being different manifested itself in various ways. Maybe they preferred creativity over sports, or had a different sense of humor than their peers. Or perhaps they were more interested in talking to adults about complex topics rather than joining in children's games. Their interests often diverged from what was popular or cool in their age group. In class, they were the ones who offered unique perspectives on topics, seeing connections that others overlooked. This could generate admiration from teachers, but confusion or even ridicule from peers. They weren't trying to show off. Their brains simply worked differently. Family gatherings could be particularly challenging. While cousins and siblings easily indulge in small talk, they may feel like outsiders, unsure of how to participate or uninterested in the topics of conversation. This sense of difference was not always negative. Sometimes it came with a feeling of pride, a kind of secret knowledge that they saw the world in a special way. But more often, it sparked a longing to belong, to find one's tribe. As they grew up, that feeling of being different didn't go away. It became an important part of who they are. They began to see their unique way of thinking as a good thing, not a problem. But they never forgot how difficult it was as a child, feeling confused, alone, and wondering why they were so different. These memories stay with them, affecting how they relate to the world and other people as they mature. Number 5, they were constantly underestimated and questioned by others. Although Sigmas always felt different, society often reinforced that feeling through constant questioning and underestimation. Because they didn't always do what was expected, Others assumed they couldn't do it at all. His unconventional thinking often caused teachers to misunderstand his potential. While they could excel in areas that truly interested them, their lack of interest in subjects they found unstimulating was often interpreted as a lack of intelligence or effort. Their unique approaches to solving problems were sometimes seen as flawed, simply because they did not follow the expected path. Among his peers, his thoughtful and often reserved nature was frequently misinterpreted as a sign of weakness or social awkwardness. Other children, and even adults, often assumed that they were less capable or less interesting than they really were. This constant underestimation had a profound impact on the young Sigma. It forced them to develop a thick skin and a strong sense of self-reliance. They learned to trust their own judgment, even when everyone around them questioned it. Over time, they began to see these challenges as opportunities to prove themselves, quietly exceeding expectations and surprising those who doubted them. Even as adults, Sigmas continue to face this type of underestimation from others. But now, instead of feeling discouraged, they use it as fuel to try even harder and achieve much more. Number 6, they struggle to feign enthusiasm for things they didn't care about. Exaggerating enthusiasm for things they didn't care about simply wasn't in their nature. While others could easily feign interest or excitement, Sigmas found it incredibly difficult to feign enthusiasm for something they were not genuinely interested in. When their friends got excited about the latest video game or toy, they couldn't force themselves to share the same level of enthusiasm. These children often struggled to put on a happy face. They didn't want to be the odd one out, but pretending to be excited about something they didn't care about was exhausting. As they grew older, the struggle with feigning enthusiasm became less of a problem. They learned to be themselves unapologetically, without feeling the need to conform just for the sake of fitting in. While they may still struggle to show enthusiasm for things they are not genuinely interested in, they no longer feel guilty about it. Thanks for watching this video.